Hello again and welcome to another Warhammer 40k 8th edition reveal video. Today we will be looking at transports. Now again I want to address an artwork elephant in the room. I understand that this is not Imperial Guard artwork. However, one, I thought it looked really cool, and two, I haven't seen it before. And I have had a quick look around and I couldn't find where it comes from. So if any of you guys know the origins of this art, what game system it's related to, that'd be great. Just let me know down in the comments. But let's get straight on to the article itself, talking about transport. So fasten your seat belts, guys. Keep all arms and limbs and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because we are going to be talking about transports. So according to the Games Workshop page, transports have undergone some pretty fundamental changes. And they say previously they were a bit of a mixed bag, they were a bit crap, but most of the time all they did is just keep your squad alive for the first volley of heavy weapons, and then that was it. Which I kind of agree with, but really that's the whole point of a transport, isn't it? The whole point of transport is to protect the guys inside from heavy weapons and small arms. So I don't know if I agree with that being a problem necessarily. They now say that transports will be durable, faster, and many are better at shooting. They have fewer and few limitations on them. For example, a unit that disembarks from transport is no longer prevented from charging that turn. So hello, Rhino Rush. Let's not pretend that Rhino Rush isn't back in business, because it is. Pardon me. I mean, now there is a slight downside to it, which is if you're going to disembark from your transport, you have to do it at the beginning of the movement phase. But I believe the vehicle after that can move around and do what it wants. So no more of this stupid, if you get out or you get in, you can only move 6 inches malarkey. No. You get out or you get in your vehicle at the beginning of the movement phase, and you are pretty much allowed to do whatever the hell you want after that. I mean, that's just insane, because I know some people out there are saying, oh, well, it isn't Rhino Rush because you have to get out at the beginning. Well, Mr. Smarty Pants, let me explain a thing or two to you. Obviously, against certain units which are going to be able to, move out of the way of this, then no, Rhino Rush isn't back. But when you've got, an Imperial Guard line, for example, that's what we're all about, right? Imperial Guard. What's going to happen is the enemy is going to Rhino Rush as fast as possible towards you, turn 1, and then they're just going to get out at the beginning of their movement phase, assuming that you don't just get out right next to the vehicle, assuming we still have that sort of, you get out your movement distance, which is 6 in this case. Your units will still, for basically, get out pretty much within charge range. As far as an Imperial Guard line can retreat, an enemy unit's going to be able to get out of the transport. So Rhino Rush is back, guys. Because what you have to remember is that you could take your transport and turn 1, ram it down your opponent's throat. And maybe if he tries to retreat, you just keep ramming it down his throat. Because remember, you can charge with vehicles now. So what you might end up finding you're doing is your opponents are doing is they're getting their rhinos and their other transports and they are slamming them into you turn 1. And I literally mean into you. They're going to charge into you. And what's going to happen is they're going to get as physically close as possible as they can and then force you to blow them up. And then that will count as them disembarking and they will charge. So Rhino Rush / exploding rhino trick is now back in business. So there is literally no problem with an enemy with a Khorne army, for example, Khorne Berserkers, slamming 4 of those units, 4 Khorne Berserker units and some rhinos, and just turn 1 as fast as they can, get in there, get into the enemy units, and then you're going to have 40 Khorne Berserkers in your face turn 1. Maybe turn 2. So that's insane. Transports are generally going to be used to eat Overwatch. That's another thing that Games Workshop have actively acknowledged. Transports are going to eat Overwatch. That is pretty much the whole point of them now. Again, if you're, for example, if you're a Khorne Berserker army, you get up to your opponent as quickly as possible. He doesn't blow you out of that transport. He's still well within assault range. You just get out of your transport and you assault with it first. It eats the Overwatch, and then you get your other unit in there as well. You get your Berserkers in there as well. So, I mean, that's just crazy. They give us an example of a starweaver, which is a Harlequin transport, which is movement 16, weapon skill 3 plus pistol skill 3 plus strength 5, toughness 5, wounds 6, attacks 3, leadership 8, 4 plus save. That's pretty crazy. I mean, I'm going to have a look at what a Harlequin starweaver is right now. Okay, like, I'm going to be honest, this Harlequin starweaver looks pretty much like a Venom and a Viper had a baby. Okay, but let's take a look at those stats for a second. Let's take a fucking look at those stats. Movement 16. So it's going places quickly. But that vehicle, and I thought vehicles weren't meant to have very good weapon skill, but that vehicle hits on a 3+. What? I thought vehicles were meant to hit on like a 6+ or 5+, and it was only going to be orcs that got to upgrade their vehicles to be good in close combat. I mean, that seems a bit crazy to me. I mean, what you've got to remember, guys, is this is and it's got 3 attacks, this thing, and it's toughness 5, and it's got 6 wounds. What I'm looking at here, let's break this down. Let's actually, you know, what does this mean? If you're a guard player and you've got your lines of infantry backed up by your tanks, what does this mean? What I'm seeing right here is the equivalent of, I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is the equivalent of a Carnifex, a Carnifex with 16 in its movement. Tell me I'm wrong. You know, I mean, it balances out roughly. I mean, it hits on a 3+. You know, it's got high strength. It's going to, you know, it's going to be wounding us. You know, it's like basically having a monster creature, a 7th edition monster creature that's able to slam into us pretty quickly. And transports are going to be cheap. So, I don't know what this means, guys. Maybe the starweaver is a special example. Maybe the starweaver is a special example. I mean, if I go on the unit picture on Games Workshop now, I can see a guy hanging off the side. He's got a sword. But it is clearly a transport. It's clearly a Venom. You know, this whole thing we're talking about is transports. So I'm not going to labour the point too much, guys. But if we're starting to get transports which have the ability to hit on a 3+, and they're, you know, toughness 5, wounds 6 with a 4+ save, we're really gonna. It's gonna be like fucking bumper cars. They're gonna just be bumper carring into us non-stop. Anyway. And one other thing I want to say. Just look at this. Look at that fucking thing. It hits on a 3+ with strength 5. That means this transport alone will be able to fly up to a Lehman Russ, hit the Lehman Russ on a 3+ with 3 attacks, and wound it on a 5+. Because it's strength 5. That's insane. You've got this little crappy Venom little... I mean, let's be honest, it's basically a fucking paper airplane flying up to a Lehman Russ with a fairly decent chance of just killing it. Well, not killing it, that's an exaggeration, but damaging it. And it's like, let's be realistic about this. I doubt that paper airplane would have a snowball's chance in hell of even damaging a Lehman Russ. I mean, Lehman Russes are meant to be tough. Anyway... Another thing that doesn't really affect us is you can, if your vehicle's locked in combat, then the people, if it's open top, the people inside can shoot their pistols out. It's kind of cool. Basically, it just represents people just pointing guns out the side of a vehicle and holding the trigger down. It's kind of cool. But guess what? Guard don't have any open top transports, So, and we don't have any pistols on our basic guys, so we're not really going to be taking advantage of that, are we? Being inside an exploding vehicle is now bad, and when a vehicle loses its last wound, it explodes every time. If you're inside of a vehicle and it dies, each model rolls a dice, and on a 1 it just dies. Doesn't matter how many wounds it got, it just dies. So that's pretty crazy. And that's it. Let's just go over this though. Let's really analyze this from like an Imperial Guardsman and an Imperial Guard player's point of view. You know, our transports aren't going to be hitting people on 3+s, so we're going to have an issue there. Our transports aren't going to be, you know, in close combat or in shooting. Our transports aren't going to be as fast. Okay, our transports are probably only going to be like strength 5 or strength 6. Not going to be a huge strength. I can't see a Chimera being greater than toughness 6. I can't see it having more than 6 wounds either. So my question here is right now is Chimera. This starweaver costs 5 power levels. If let's assume that a Chimera has a movement stat of 12. No, 10. Let's assume a Chimera has a movement stat of 10 and a weapon skill of 5+, and a ballistic skill of 4+, and a strength of 6, and a toughness of 6, and a wounds of 6, and attacks like 2, and a save 4+. That's like, that means a Chimera needs to be about 5 power levels. And people are telling me that drones, you know, people are telling me that drones are costing about 12 points each if their power levels if their points translate into power levels. So if that's the case, we're looking at Chimeras which are still going to be about 60 points, guys, but are going to be pretty much significantly worse than some of these other transports out there. I don't know. Am I being pessimistic? Maybe. But let's remove the salt from the equation, guys, and let's look at this on a positive note. Last thing, I want to end this video on a positive note. If a vehicle like a starweaver, which is going to have armor 10, 10, 10 in the current edition, it's going to. If that has an armor save of 4+, that probably bodes quite well for our Chimeras. I imagine our Chimeras are going to have a 4+, maybe even a 3+. So that's cool. That's really cool. Not much more to be said, really, guys. The video's gone on slightly longer than I wanted it to already, but you can sort of see why I'm a little bit like, about all this, because I'm thinking, you know, one of the concerns I'm having is we're seeing a lot of other factions getting a lot of really good stuff, and then I'm thinking back to the Imperial Guard reveal, and I'm thinking, well, did we really get a good deal there, or did we get a little bit excited before we should have done? Maybe. But like I said, let's end on a positive note. Chimeras are hopefully going to be a little cheaper, and hopefully they're going to have a 4+ save, which would be nice. Let's see what they get. Let's not crack out the salt grenades until we've seen the actual stats for the vehicles. So I hope you guys watch this. Let me know what you guys think on transports. I mean, I think transports are going to be really, really important to help durability from turn 1 charges. I think the transports are still going to have that role to play where they protect you from that turn 1 rape that they currently have. So what do you guys think? Are transports going to be radically different, or do you think they're going to pretty much fulfill the same role? And of course, guys, if any of you know where this artwork comes from, that'd be great. Just let me know. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Of course, please comment. I want to get your guys' feedback as we build up to 8th edition. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.